in my heart. Y'all better leave me alone. That I might not sin against thee, because whatever you face in this life, as a believer, and you non-believers better know this too, you're going to need word. Y'all hear me?
That's right.
I was contemplating some stuff this week, throwing it around in my head, and I said, Lord, anybody ever get to the point sometimes you say, Lord, why? Why is all this happening? Or maybe y'all superhumans, you know. And I was saying, Lord, why? Why? Look like the enemy is picking on us. I've been there. I ain't gonna lie to you. I ain't trying to be sweet this morning. Maybe, just maybe, Dean, I'm gonna preach to me.
Come on, man.
Because maybe nobody else in here have been where I am. You try to do all this right. You try to do all the right things. You put all the right things in places. You try to say all the right prayers, read all the right this and that. You ain't gonna help me. But stuff seems to sometimes still fall to pieces when you least expect it. Life would be so much beautiful if we could have it smooth all the time. But when you name the name of Christ and you say you're living for God and you say you're walking with Him, you know, I pity folk that don't know Him. It's tough enough for people who know Him. Y'all ain't gonna help me here. It's tough enough for people who say they love God and God is walking with them and they are saved and sanctified and on their way to heaven. It's tough enough for us. Good God, for the people that don't know how to pray, don't know how to read, don't know God's will, and don't know His word. Because whatever you need, y'all can help me if you don't want to, you can find it in His word. I didn't come to flavor you up today. I came to tell you, when you facing life's difficulties, if you can't stand on nothing else, you can stand on His word. Cut up, maybe. Y'all hear me? Because I feel like today God is immutable. That's one of His attributes. That means He never changes. You know, some folk change, people change, friends change, customs change, fall, winter, spring, summer, they all change. But God, who sits high and looks low, He never changes. He's the same yesterday, today, and forevermore. Y'all ain't gonna help me. I'm preaching better than your response. Aren't you glad as a believer you serve a God you can call on and His line ain't never busy? He don't have call waiting, so He don't want to answer your call. He won't answer. Y'all ain't gonna help me here. But He never changes. Somebody tell the Lord thank you. This book of James is thought to have been written by the James who was the brother of Jesus. Brother of Jesus, and who became a believer after Jesus' ascension. He apparently also became a leader in the Jerusalem church. The letter is addressed to the 12 tribes in the dispersion and may have been the first New Testament book written. James was bothered as he saw that Christians were not living holy lives. Too many had failed to show any difference in behavior after becoming believers. I made a statement earlier. No, we're not perfect, but we ought to be striving to be perfect. We ought to be striving to be better than what we are. Y'all ain't gonna help me here. And as old as we get, we ought to want to live better for Christ. It's bad to be mean when you're young and then mean when you get old. Y'all ain't gonna help me here. When you've been testifying that He gets sweeter as the day go by. Because somebody is watching us. Somebody wants to see Christ in our life. Somebody wants to see that there is a difference. Preach, boy. So instead, he insisted that faith by itself, y'all ain't gonna help me. I'm sorry. Too many had failed to show any difference in their behavior after becoming believers. So he insisted that faith by itself, if accompanied by action, actions, if not accompanied by action, is dead. Faith without works is dead. Christians must show their faith by what they do. So James filled his letter with calls to the believer for living right. Persevere during trials. Somebody say persevere.
Persevere.
During trial. Y'all ain't gonna help me here. And don't fool yourself. A trial can come up just like a storm. When you least expect it. Somebody tell the Lord thank you. Oh, y'all with me today? Keep your finger where the text is, because I'm going to stay with the text and then I'm going home. Somebody tell the Lord thank you. Trials can come up when you least expect it, but every believer ought to have some faith. Every believer ought to have some trust in God. Your walk with God ought to have been so that if God don't do it, you know he's still able. Anybody know he's still able? Oh, y'all looking at me like I dropped out of Mars somewhere. But I come to tell you, I have too many testimonies in here of the fact that God can do what he said he would do. Y'all hear me? So James had to deal with folk living right. And then he had to deal with folk persevering as their faith was tried. Because the devil don't want your money. He got plenty of that. The devil, y'all ain't gonna help me here. What the devil is after is your faith. You ought to shake your neighbor's hand and tell him he's after your faith. If he can get you as a believer to doubt God, he's got you. If he can get you as a believer to feel like God ain't coming to you this time, he's not going to do it for you this time, he's got you. You ought to touch somebody and say, don't let the devil get you down. Because he's after you. He's after your faith. He's after your faith walk with God. Somebody ought to help me preach up in here, because I'll take another 30 minutes if you don't help me. But if you help me, I'll close out in a few minutes. Somebody tell the Lord thank you. You ought to touch 3 people and tell them he's after your faith. Oh, whatever you do, don't let the enemy steal your faith. The Bible said when Jesus was talking to Peter, he said, Peter, Satan desires to sift you as wheat, but I prayed for you that your faith fail you not. High five somebody and tell them keep the faith. Talk to me, progressive, because I'm trying to get out of here. You all the one holding me up. I'm trying to get through this. You all the one holding me. Y'all ain't gonna help me here. Somebody tell the Lord thank you. Can I get a hand clap up in here today?